Hi, for this video, we are going to talk about multiplying polynomials. So these are the steps that we can follow in multiplying polynomials. The first one is each term of the first factor should be multiplied to each term of the other factor. That's why in multiplying polynomials, we will use our knowledge regarding distributive property of multiplication or the distribution method, and as well as the FOIL method. Okay, and then the second one is we need to apply the laws of exponents when multiplying the variables and the rules of integers when multiplying the numerical coefficient. Most probably, yung gagamitin nating laws of exponent dito kadalasan is yung sa product rule, okay, kasi we are multiplying polynomials. And we talk about integers, diba? So, you know how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide integers. So, we will be using our knowledge in this lesson. And then lastly, if there are similar terms, you need to combine them. So these are the rules that we will use in multiplying polynomials. Now let us find the product of these polynomials. Let's say we have example number 1. So multiply daw natin si x squared kay 3x plus 2. What we need first to do is that we need to arrange the factors using a parenthesis. Yung monomial na x squared, just write that as it is, no? So, pwedeng hindi na natin siya lagyan ng parentheses. Ang lalagyan lang natin ng parentheses is si binomial, which is 3x plus 2. Right after natin ma-arrange using a parentheses, we will apply distributive property of multiplication. Kasi yung isang factor mo is monomial. You need to distribute x squared to each term inside the parentheses. What will happen is that you need to multiply x squared to 3x. And then copy the sign here, plus you need also to multiply x squared to 2. Okay, and then multiply separately. X squared times 3x, you need to apply the product rule sa law of integers. So, ang numerical coefficient ni x squared ay 1. Kung multiply natin si 1 kay 3, the answer is 3. X squared times x, they have the same basis. So, i-add natin yung exponent nila. 2 plus 1, that is equal to 3. So, therefore, x is now raised to the third power. Okay? Plus x squared times 2, this is a variable and a constant. So, pag pinag-multiply natin siya, we will just combine them, making sure that the number will be the first one written before the variable. So, x squared times 2, the answer is 2x squared. And then lastly, we need to observe the product if they have similar terms. In this case, the literal coefficient here is x raised to the third and x raised to the second. Hindi sila magkamukha. Therefore, we cannot combine these terms. Thus, this will now be our product. Okay? And then the second one, we will be multiplying 2 by 4m squared minus m plus 7. Same as the first example, no? We will distribute by applying the distributive property of multiplication. Distribute 2 to each term inside the parentheses. Therefore, what will happen is that we will multiply 2 by 4m squared. Copy the sign, so minus, then 2 multiply natin kay m, copy the sign, plus 2, we will multiply it also by 7. And then multiply natin individually. So 2 times 4m squared, 2 times 4, The answer is 8, and then copy natin yung variable. Basically, yung coefficient and yung constant yung minultiply natin and kinopy lang natin si m squared. And then minus 2 times m, the answer is 2m. Just combine them. Plus 2 times 7, the answer is 14. And then observe if the product have similar terms. In this case, walang similar terms, no? Kasi yung literal coefficient, the first term is m raised to the second power. Yung pangalawang term is m. This is constant, no? We cannot combine the first and second term kasi different yung literal coefficient nila. Therefore, this is now the product for example number 2. The answer is 8m raised to the second power minus 2m plus 14. Next, we have our third example. So we will be finding the product of negative a and negative 3b plus a squared minus 4c. Okay, so first, arrange ulit natin using a parenthesis. So, si negative a, kahit hindi na natin siya lagyan ng parenthesis, yung trinomial na lang, yung lagyan natin ng parenthesis. So, negative 3b plus a squared minus 4c. And then, using the distributive property of multiplication, i-distribute natin si negative a to each term inside the parentheses. What will happen is we will be multiplying negative a and negative 3b, copy the sign, plus we will also multiply negative a to a squared. Then copy the sign. Lastly, we will multiply negative a to 4c. Okay? And then, let's multiply individually. So, negative a times negative 3b. Let's multiply first the numerical coefficient. So, here it is negative 1 times negative 3. The answer will be positive 3. And a times b, just combine them. A, B. And then here, plus, multiply natin si negative a and a squared. So the answer will be negative a to the third power. And then we need to put a parenthesis for us to separate the operation to the sign of a to the third. So, bakit naging negative a raised to the third power? So, ang numerical coefficient ni a is negative 1. Ang numerical coefficient ni a squared is positive 1. So, negative 1 times positive 1, the answer is negative 1. I did not put 1 here. No? Understood na may 1 doon. And then, same sila ng base. Add their exponent, 1 plus 2. That's why we get 3 as the exponent. The answer is negative a raised to the third, and then minus negative a times 4c. So the answer here is negative 4ac. Okay? So bakit naging negative 4? The numerical coefficient of a is negative 1, diba? So negative 1 times 4, the answer is negative 4. And then a times c, just combine them. AC. Okay? And then as you can see here, there is still a parenthesis. So we need to cancel the parentheses by multiplying the signs. Okay? We have 3ab. Here, positive times negative, we will get negative. Okay? And then copy a to the third. Here, negative times negative, the answer is positive, and then copy for AC. Take a look now at your product. Find if there are similar terms that we can combine. In this case, wala silang similar terms, no? Ang literal coefficient ng unang term is AB, yung pangalawang term is cube or a to the third power. Yung pangatlong term is AC. So, walang magkakamukha ng literal coefficient. Therefore, we cannot combine terms. Okay? So, this will be now your product. The product of example number 3 is 3AB minus a to the third plus 4ac. Next example is we will be finding the product of x plus 1 and x minus 4. So as you can see in our fourth example, the given or the factors are both binomial. So we will arrange them using a parenthesis. Both of them, x plus 1 and then x minus 4. Then, if we will be multiplying two binomials, there is a certain method that we will be using. And that method is called the FOIL method. Basically, the FOIL method, it means first, outer, inner, and last terms. Meaning, the first that we need to multiply is the first terms of the two binomials. So in this case, we need to multiply x times x first. And that will result to x squared. And then for the outer terms, this is your outer terms, x and negative 4. So you need to include the sign. Okay? X, we need to multiply it by negative 4. The answer here is negative 4x. And then for I, you need to multiply the inner terms, which is positive 1 and x. 1 times x, that will result to x. Okay? And then we need to multiply the last terms, which is 1, positive 1, and negative 4. And that will result to negative 4. Right after getting the product of each category in the FOIL method, we need to combine them according to the FOIL method. So, kung sino yung nauna, yun yung mauuna kapag sinulat natin siya. So, here, nauna yung F, the first terms, the product of the first terms, which is x raised to the second power, and then the product of the outer terms, which is negative 4x, so write minus 4x there, and then the product of the inner terms, which is positive x, so just write plus x, and then the product of the last terms, which is negative 4, so just write minus 4. And then take a look at your product. If there are terms that have similar literal coefficients, you can combine them. In this case, mayroon tayong similar yung literal coefficient, and that is negative 4x and positive x. So you need to combine them. So we have x squared. What will happen is that you need to just combine their numerical coefficient. So, mangyayari is negative 4 plus 1, may invisible 1 dyan. The answer is negative 3. So, just write negative 3 and then copy the literal coefficient, x. And then, minus 4. And there's no more similar terms. Therefore, this is now the product of example number 4. The product is x squared minus 3x minus 4. Last example, we will be finding the product of negative 2x raised to the second power plus y and x plus 4y. So arrange natin first using a parenthesis, negative 2x squared plus y and x plus 4y. And then, these are two binomials, so the method that we will be using is the FOIL method. Let's multiply the first terms, which is negative 2x raised to the second and x. This will result to negative 2x raised to the third power using the product law. of exponents. Next is, let's multiply the outer terms, which is negative 2x raised to the second power times 4y. And this will result to negative 8. So negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. And then let's just copy the variables or the literal coefficient, x squared y. The next is we need to multiply the inner terms, and that is y times x. And the answer here is xy. Okay, you need to make sure na yung pagkakasunod ng variables nyo is according to the alphabet. So here, we can write yx, but then sa alphabet kasi, mas naon na si x kay y. So let's arrange that and the answer will be xy. Lastly, let's multiply the last terms. So y times natin kay positive 4y. Okay? And we will get 4y squared. So 1 times 4 is 4, y times y, that is y squared. And then right after getting all the products, let's combine them. Okay? Let's write them in horizontal form. So negative 2x raised to the third minus 8x squared y plus xy plus 4y squared. So observing your product, let's take a look at the literal coefficients. If mayroon silang magkakamukhang literal coefficient, we can combine them. So sa first term, x raised to the third, x raised to the second, y sa second term. Sa third term, xy. Sa fourth term is y squared. So basically, wala silang or walang terms na mayroong same literal coefficients. Therefore, this is now your product. The answer is negative 2x raised to the third minus 8x raised to the second y plus xy plus 4y raised to the second power. And that's it. That is how you multiply polynomials.